Manitoba is creating a $15 million fund for road repairs. Will this make a dent in the problem or in your rims? Let's talk about this.
It's not going to fix too many of those dents in the road. That's not a very big number. $15 million.
That's
No,
true.
it's really not.
I don't know, you guys. Where are they getting this money? Are they going to start using some of that gas tax money to get some roads filled up? Because the gas prices are a lot higher, and I just can't drive as far. So I guess they won't have to fill as many damaged holes because we're gonna be off the road soon.
Have you looked at the roads?
I experienced Saskatchewan Avenue right by Route 90, and there was almost literally no road there.
That road is a massage, is what that is.
That's a rough massage. That's what they call the deep tissue.
Deep tissue, exactly.
For your suspension.
I don't know, you guys. How much do you think it would actually cost to fix these darn roads?
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
But 15 million doesn't sound like it goes very far.
Yeah, to build a specific road, like when my parents were, and this is in 2000 to 2005 that they did the road, that street alone was about 2, maybe 3 city blocks. And this is over 20 years ago. It cost $15 million to redo that road. And it wasn't even like a complete digging up of the road. It was just basically a resurfacing. $15 million at that point to resurface the road. So are we only going to get 3 square city blocks worth of patching throughout the whole city?
Well, we're not even getting 15 million for the city. That's for the province. The city gets 9 million of it. So 9 million in Winnipeg, that presumably doesn't go very far at all. And then 6 million for the rest of this giant province. And did they need a nice sounding headline? I'd be like, this is do nothing at all. The city's road repair budget is like $165 million this year. So 9 million is nice. It's better than nothing. But does this really, as the Michael Lee put it, does this make a dent?
No.
No, I don't know what the point of this is.
No.
Yeah, we can all just expect dents in our vehicles and in our tires.
Mostly in your rims.
Yeah, dented rims.
Yeah.
Can I have $9 million to fix my dented rim?
Maybe that's what they should just do. They'd be better off purchasing new tires for all of us after this season.
Yeah, I'd probably not.
Rebate? Tire rebate?
I don't think $15 million goes very far to solve that problem either.
You don't think so? I wonder how much it would cost to buy everybody new tires.
A lot. Tires is expensive.
Tires have seen a 5 to 19% increase over the last year or two. Pricing.
And often rims go along the tires if you hit a big enough hole.
Exactly.
Rims quite pricey.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, does everyone need to have 20-inch rims on their car? That's another good question.
Yes. On their trucks, ever especially.
Trucks don't get used for trucks mostly.
They get used for these roads.
Yeah.
They got better suspensions to handle it, that's for sure.
They do. Plus the big tires don't fall in some of the holes.
And where did this $9 million come from?
The province.
The province? Could they have spent that $9 million in a better way?
On what? Probably.
Well,
healthcare?
$9 million ain't going to go far there either.
Doesn't buy a lot of healthcare.
Yeah.
Doesn't buy a lot of roads. It doesn't buy a lot of healthcare.
I guess the government's just telling us they're shelling our pennies out back to us in diverse ways that don't really make a big difference.
So this is $9 million of lip service.
Pretty much.
That's cool.
Well, thanks for that.
Well, in other Manitoba news, we're set to have the lowest minimum wage come October in all of Canada. That's good too, right?
Yeah, that's because we're forward thinking in here in Manitoba, and having a low minimum wage is good for the prices of the stuff that I have to buy in the store, right, guys?
Well, should it be higher, Josh? Tell us your opinion.
You know what? I'm already having to pay people higher than minimum wage for getting student workers because, you know what, there's a bit of a labor shortage. So yeah, higher might be actually better.
Well, the premier's argument was the labor shortage is causing wages to go higher than minimum wage anyways. So I guess she think it just doesn't matter.
Well, maybe. It's really tough to say. I mean, I don't think most of us are thinking in terms of the economic impact of minimum wage. We're thinking about the livability of minimum
the inflation
wage.
that we have to deal with.
That, yeah, and the livability itself. The cost of living is increasing ridiculously, as we can see, with gas prices and with
grocery bills.
Oh yeah. Anyways, so
just eat less. You could stand to lose a couple pounds.
I'm trying. I do eat less in the morning now. Just drink more coffee.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
But really, what should the minimum wage be at if we were to say for kids and who mostly get minimum wage, and maybe the people who...
Saskatchewan's raising their minimum wage to $13 an hour.
Yeah,
Manitoba is going to be $12.35.
Big whoop.
Yeah.
What should it be at for livability? That's what I want to ask.
So people like to bring up $15 an hour.
$15 an hour. Seems
to be a commonly chosen number.
And what is the number of working hours for a minimum wage employee?
I don't know.
You think they work full time, or they maybe work like 60 hours a week, a pay period, or what?
I mean, I guess it totally depends on the industry, but I'm doubting they work full time.
Yeah.
Generally, full-time or part-time employees are not afforded that many hours.
Do you think they get afforded less hours when the wages go up?
Presumably.
That's a sad situation. So they'll still be making the same amount of money, because it's not necessarily true that because the wages go up that the business's income is going up, right?
So they get less hours.
Yeah.
And prices go up anyways. So who's winning?
I don't know how to solve that. I mean, some say that if minimum wage goes up and significantly, like some Scandinavian countries, your economic impact will be greater, because affordability will have arrived for the lower portions of people on the wage scales. So they'll have money to actually spend. And rather than money being stagnant and not flowing, that's generally what economics is, right? It's the flow of money. If money is actually moving around and not being saved by or barely spent by lower income individuals, maybe that does change the entire economics. I'd like to see how that would actually play out in some of our Canadian provinces.
Well, the traditional argument is if you raise minimum wage, then goods just get more expensive to compensate, and nobody really gets anywhere.
The problem is not necessarily like just because less people on the lower wage scale get all of a sudden higher up. How directly does that make the cost of goods more?
Well, the goods and services, I presume, will cost more because the people providing them or manufacturing them or selling them have to be paid more.
Well,
generally, any costs of business increase is passed along to the consumer at the end of the day.
That's one way of thinking in terms of the flow of economics. If we can find a way to make the highly paid businesses in any economy actually flow their money back downwards, i.e. higher wages, does that take out from the basic if you have a company like Walmart,
yeah,
who has massive revenue,
yes, come on, faster.
Does it really affect them to have higher wages for those low income individuals that they're paying?
It doesn't have to affect them, but if they choose to not lose a couple $1 million, which generally they choose not to, when the profit margin is huge, you don't have to raise prices to compensate for raising wages, but that does generally seem to be what happens.
Yeah.
So if you could stop that from happening, it might work.
Well, I don't know. What country is it that has a minimum wage of like $19 or $20? I can't remember. Is it Sweden?
I don't know. What's minimum wage in Norway? They get to pay lots of tax there.
Minimum wages in America. You know what that is, you guys?
America.
America. The average minimum wage.
Which America?
Yes.
North.
It goes by state, so the average is $7.25. The average in Australia is over $15.50. The average in France is where we'll be by the fall. And the average of minimum wage in Sweden, do you know what that is?
$20 an hour.
$22 without going over.
There's no literal minimum wage actually.
$1. I bid $1.
The average lowest income is approximately $19 to $20 an hour. So how is it possible?
Sweden?
How is it possible that they don't even have a rule for minimum wage, and they are doing pretty good for that economy and those people?
I don't know. How is it possible?
I say try it. Jack up that minimum wage to a sustainable living income.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll work.
I mean, I may not be a fiscal conservative all the time. I'm saying try it.
Well, maybe we start with like $15 an hour and see if it makes any kind of dent.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Everybody go and talk to their MLAs and say, please increase the minimum wage in Manitoba to $15 an hour for low-income earners.
Because Josh said so.
Because I want you to, and let's just try to mess up Manitoba a little bit and be a little more progressive.
Yeah?
Yeah, do it.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question, Josh. Is Canada an oil superpower?
No.
Why not?
That was quick.
I just know.
How do you know?
Actually, I don't know what you would consider a superpower. I mean, don't we have like the fourth highest export of oil in the world?
I think it's third or fourth, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I went over that a little while ago, so that's why I remember it. Does that make us a superpower?
Well, it seems like it.
Or does the amount of money that we collect from oil actually make us a superpower?
Well, we're collecting a lot more these days.
We could be collecting a little more if our dollar was a little better.
Well, yeah, we could. How did that happen?
Oh, we're not going to get into the economics of why our dollar's so weak, are we?
A discussion for another day.
Yeah, write it on the list of discussions.
Yeah. Ask Pierre.
Well, why do you bring up, Adam, are we a superpower?
Well, because...
Gas prices?
Well, first of all, gas prices are extremely high in a country where we seem to have a lot of the stuff gas is made out of.
Remember when gas was $1.50 a little while ago, and I said, "Are you guys ready for it to go over $2?" And you told me it's got to go back down.
It does have to go back down.
I think you guys believed it would.
I still believe it will.
No, I do not.
No.
I think that carbon tax will go up and up and up, and then probably Mr. Pierre Poilievre will win an election someday and scrap that carbon tax, and maybe we'll all be alleviated with lower gas prices and housing heating costs.
Well, I just know that it seems like we have a federal government that's touting the green way and seems to be trying to fight gas and oil. And yet it seems like we're exporting more oil than ever and making huge profits from it because the price is so high.
Yeah, currently it is. Yeah, that's good for us in a sense.
Yeah, it's just all very interesting.
It's too bad that we're not feeling any of that relief here in our pockets.
No.
Why is that exactly, Adam?
Maybe we got holes in our pockets? I don't know.
It's because the buying power of our Canadian dollar is so low compared to what it was before when we had an economic depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's our policies in Canada for us. I don't know what to say about that. I'm just not happy. I'm not happy that we're have the potential in Canada to be much richer in the middle class, and we are simply becoming poorer and poorer.
Yeah.
While the elites just get to snub their noses at us here in the West.
That's right. So if Canada's making all this extra money from the record oil profits, What could they do with that money to improve things in the near future?
Well, they're going to pay for everybody's kids that is on the lower side to have their teeth cleaned.
Oh, good. Okay.
And we already said, how are they going to pay for that? And then we suggested
Oil
at
money.
one point we should use oil money. And then all of a sudden that seems to be what might happen. We might have the benefit of having some kind of good income from a natural resource. And then we can pay for some policies that the government strewed out there without any consideration of how they would balance themselves.
Well, they'd have to make their NDP buddies happy.
Yeah, well, I guess what's happening is actual using our resources to pay for policies in Canada that everybody seems to think are, well, not everybody, it's a hit and miss situation since we already have coverage for dental for most people. But with the way our current economics is and our research, or our what am I saying? Our technology, the way our technology is right now, we need that gas and we need that oil. I mean, how many people right now are building homes with geothermal right now?
Not many, because it's cost prohibitive.
But it's over $2.50 a square foot of a rebate right now from the Manitoba government if you want to install a system like that. So
Is it?
yeah, I was just reading the Manitoba efficiency program. So just so anybody wants to know, the easiest thing for you to do is check to see if your home qualifies for any of those rebates. One of them is insulation. If you are under code on anywhere in your insulation, they will pay 100% of a rebate for the cost of materials for insulating your home. If you're Indigenous, you get extra rebates from the province. So keep that in mind when you want to look for making your home more energy efficient. Because right now, I gotta say, if the technology is burning those so-called fossil fuels and basically gas and oil, and we're not improving our homes with the technology that is upcoming, you know what? Produce more oil and put more gas in Canada, because we need it. We need it to sustain healthy living for the economics of the lower class and middle class people. We can't all just sacrifice our living conditions because the wealthy elites there in Ottawa and Toronto can afford to do so, and who have their gases bills paid for by our lovely tax dollars when they drive their big V8 vehicles.
Well, we can't be paying $2 a liter for gas, and we can't all be buying $60,000, $70,000 EVs.
Yeah, so
what's the answer?
in the time being, what we do is develop oil and gas to the point where Canadians can build some kind of monetary relief, whether that be from tax reliefs that we get each year, or some kind of like endowment that would be created for Canadians to have.
Endowment?
Yeah. You know? What would you think about that?
Interesting thought.
So we'd have a large amount of money sitting there that we could eventually use to develop and build the technologies that we would all have to change over to.
Right.
You know,
like charging infrastructure, rebates on electric vehicles if they are to be the way of the future, and we would all be able to apply for that then at the same time with a big grant. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We need to develop something right now instead of harming our current system, right? Like, I'm reading this book right now. It's called it's by Michael Schellenberg. He's an environmentalist. It's called Apocalypse Never, and he's talking in the section I'm reading right now about Brazil. Brazil has something that many people like to call the Earth's lungs. You know what I'm referring to?
The Amazon?
The Amazon rainforest. The Amazon rainforest is a controversial issue where most of the time people like to decide what Brazilians can and can't do with the rainforest at the expense of all of the poor farmers and low-income individuals that need to make money. So countries like France and Germany have basically restricted their trade with Brazil based on saving the rainforest. Meanwhile, more and more individuals became poor. And what occurred in 2018? The election of quite a right-leaning individual president who's created some little bit of a controversy around the world. But you know why that is?
Because he doesn't believe in COVID.
That's true, but he supports economics for lower income people, and that basically means developing some of the rainforest into farmland so that people can actually survive and have sustainable living.
What's his name?
I don't know how to say his name. I always say it's Jair Bolsonaro.
This guy's a pirate.
Yeah, I don't know how you say that name. Jair? Is it Jair or Jair?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. Everyone calls him Bolsonaro.
I don't think he's a pirate, though.
I'm a pirate. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just leave that alone.
Yep.
At least it was back in the day when I started on Napster.
Napster.
And LimeWire.
Just aging yourself now.
Hey!
So you like Mr. Bolsonaro? You think he's a good authority figure there in Brazil?
I don't really care for him. I mean, his policies don't affect me, so I don't really give a damn.
That's true.
You know, I'm just saying that I understand what happens when you have very progressive policies that affect the living conditions of everybody in the lower income bracket. And you know what? Some might call it Trumpian when you get some right people coming up in the policies in the politics. And I want to ask you, Adam, while we're here, is our friend Pierre a Trumpian politician creating divisiveness here in Canada with the new Conservative Party that he is trying to lead?
Well, I'm told he is. And it seems to be the goal of many media and political figures to convince me that he is. He's been frequently accused of feeding off the anger of people. And my response to that is simply, why does that anger exist? Whether or not he's feeding off of it, it's there. He didn't create it. Shouldn't we perhaps pay some attention to that issue?
Yeah, that's true. You know what? Just recently, they had a debate between the Conservatives that are running for the leadership of that party, and the current leading candidates are our man Pierre Poilievre and Jean Charest. And they had a good debate, I gotta say. All the positives and negatives I've seen out of this debate, you know, they actually discussed ideas as conservatives and debated ideas rather than just everybody get along and ignore the issues that we have in our party. They actually discussed it and hashed it out, as people say. I think that's good to see in a political party rather than what some of the left-leaning media seem to say, that they were all just being divisive. You know what? It's not divisive to argue and try to make a point as to why you think your idea is the better idea for the party.
Well, you just need to agree with everyone else. That's how you don't be divisive.
Not a good thing for a leader.
Divisive?
Not a good thing for a leader. You know what? As we're recording this, the first official conservative leadership debate is occurring. Do you guys know why it's called that?
I don't know. Michael Lee, do you know?
I don't know.
Michael Lee doesn't know.
Well, you know what? It's because it's run by specific mainstream media sources, and it's official because they decided it's official.
Oh, it's official because someone said so. And
yeah, they think they have weight to say what matters and what doesn't matter.
Okay.
To people.
Well, who cares about that? But this is the most recent debate that you were talking about, where Charest and Pierre hashed out some issues? Or are you talking about their first one, which I guess was unofficial?
In that debate, the moderators, they actually asked of each candidate what they thought would be the toughest issue that they would have if they were leader on a general election. So they asked, obviously, Leslyn Lewis about her abortion and pro-life stance, and it was interesting to see her deal with those questions, and it's good because that's exactly what people would attack her on. They asked Jean Charest about his time as a liberal, because
Yes.
he was on the other side in a different party previously in his term as a politician, which has been very long. And of our man Pierre, they basically asked him about his support for the trucker convoy and how he dealt with that. And it was an interesting debate as to how our man Pierre sticks to one specific point and talks about the choices for people to have freedom in this country.
And was he not accused then of supporting lawlessness?
Of course he was.
Was he supporting lawlessness?
In fact, he had a excellent comeback that you can look up on YouTube, in which he challenged Jean Charest as being liberal cancel culture type guy, because he simply wanted Pierre to be removed from and disqualified from the race for supporting this so-called lawlessness.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Charest is the man of law.
Or he's just losing, and we will probably see Pierre as the leader of that party soon.
Yes. I'm losing, so please, disqualify that guy that's beating me.
Yeah.
Because some other reason.
Yeah, dirty politics rather than the issues at hand that Pierre has been talking about, like the cost of living, the cost of houses, gas prices, and our economy that could be a lot better.
Yeah.
Things that seem to matter a lot to individuals that don't know a whole lot about the situations here in Canada of what everyday policies are being constructed and deconstructed over in the Parliament Hill.
Like regulating the internet.
Regulating the internet, sliding in sneaky gun registration laws. Yeah.
Trying to ban gas-powered cars.
Yeah, everything. I don't know what else they're doing over there.
Yeah.
Telling us how we can even speak.
Seizing bank accounts.
Telling YouTube and Facebook how to regulate, to the point where they're saying, YouTube and Facebook are suggesting to our current federal government that these policies aren't really that great.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, Michael Lee, have you been on Twitter this week? Neither have I. I signed up for it, and you guys can follow me on my link down below.
Nice plug.
Yeah, and follow Michael Lee too. Michael Lee, show your face for a second. Follow
Hey.
Michael Lee too. All right.
Don't follow me. I don't have a Twitter.
Adam's not cool enough.
I am not cool enough.
What?
Yeah.
Coolness denied.
So speaking of Twitter, our man Elon Musk, I don't know why everybody's our man, but
Why is everyone our man? He's not really my man.
Yeah, but I know it's neither me neither. I just admire him for being so
Rich.
constructive, and yeah, really
That's fair.
having that awesome battery company called Tesla.
Yeah, and that boring company called the Boring Company.
That is interesting, and hopefully one day he will develop that what's that? That's that chips thing they were putting in the dog's head.
Potato chips?
No, the mind thing.
Isn't it Neuralink or something?
Neuralink. Yeah, I kind of want to see that have some success, because when my dog suffers from seizures, and there might be the possibility that you could put a chip in your dog's head, and then when they're starting to misfire in their brain, they could have a chip that produces an electrical current that corrects that seizure.
Yes.
That would be an awesome thing.
And you could summon him to you with your phone.
Yes, I want a programmable dog. Yeah. But you know what he's working on besides that? Something easier. He's a free speech absolutist, as he says.
He is an absolutist because of what he said this week.
What is that?
And if he manages to get through on his purchase of Twitter, he is going to reverse the permanent ban of Donald Trump.
Is it just him, or is it going to be additional permanent bans? Because he also said that he doesn't really support permanent bans.
I imagine he would be removing a lot of them. But that one will probably be nice and controversial, so it's getting mentioned.
Yeah, because the media hates Donald Trump, and they have a love-hate relationship.
Well,
mostly hate.
He's just going to stay on his truth social anyways. That's what he said.
Yeah, he's kind of developed away from it, and Twitter's quite garbage. Even though I've got on there recently, I don't see much use for it. And you know what? What does it really matter? You know what? It matters. It matters to stir up people and just get them upset because the news has nothing better to talk about. Because the things that really matter to us, like inflation, are scary, and they don't want to talk about that and tell us what really needs to happen here, what kind of real hard work needs to get done. So let's just talk about the scary orange man who might be able to say some words that we could simply just ignore in our regular lives.
Did he buy Twitter to save free speech or just to use it to make more money?
Both. He's not stupid.
Is it mostly the second one? Come on.
Probably.
Yeah,
he's gonna make money off of it.
and the way you make money is having more users be able to use it. Really,
that's right. Don't ban people.
Yeah. So obviously, that free speech, the free speech campaign that he is on. You know what? It's a good marketing ploy, and that's what that is. He is getting more users to come back to that platform, and he's going to make some money because he is going to have some subscription services possibly, or at least some paid features, and hopefully something better in terms of the algorithms in which people can actually use that platform to promote or present information in a better way.
I can't wait for the paid features on Twitter.
Yeah, you're going to get a Twitter and start paying, right?
I promise nothing.
Yeah. Well, you will.
Will I?
I know it.
Okay.
As much as you're on the gram and the Facebook, you are going to hop right on Twitter and tweet till you can't tweet no more.
I'm not on those things.
That was a weird sentence.
Yeah. Well, Twitter's not so great, you guys. But what is great is YouTube, where most of us are watching content. And if you're watching us right now, go ahead and share and subscribe this video with their friends and convince them to give us a like.
Then what else should they do? Smash that like button right there.